Hey Survivors, Makeshift here, and I'm really excited today because after about a month and a half of designing and then a few weeks of waiting, the Wasteland Weekend 2022 event aerial map, I never quite get the name right, but the map of the event is done and it's here. They just arrived yesterday, and I'm going to actually unbox them with you guys so you can see them in all their splendor. But I'm pretty excited because all I had before this was a digital proof, and so it's always a little tough to tell exactly how much you're going to see when you get the actual map up. And of course, these came in two different sizes, and we did it with the Kickstarter, but don't worry, I did order some extras, so if you either missed the Kickstarter or if this is your first time hearing about it, there will be some more for sale. But, oh, this is great. Okay. So I know what 100 movie posters looks like. Oh, yes. Oh my God. It looks great. Look at that. Can you see the whole thing? And here we go. Oh, it's even bigger than I thought it would be. I didn't think about this whole tape on brick thing. Well, this poster's destroyed already. Well, okay. All right. I'll just keep going. Okay, cool. There it is. So this is the movie poster behind me. And then there's also what's called a show poster, which is normally like a concert poster. You guys have seen them before. A little bit smaller. Well, a lot of it's smaller. But for people with less wall space, it'll probably be really helpful. Alright, so here we go again. Well, now, comparatively, this is just adorable. My hands don't work. Alright, so there the two of them are side by side. You can see this one is pretty small, but what's really cool is this printer prints in above photo quality. So usually photo quality is 300 dots per inch. You guys don't need to know all the details. But they do 354, and I designed the poster to use every one of those pixels. So the file is actually 354 pixels per inch. Anyway, nerd stuff. But all that to say, when you get really close in here, I think the letters are still legible even down to the smallest print I did. And I'm gonna try to zoom in to see how true that is. But yeah, all the information's there. I wanted to go over some details of the Wasteland Weekend event aerial map with you. So I tried to do it on the full map, but I legitimately couldn't get the camera to zoom in quite close enough because I need like a macro lens for that to get all the details. So I'm actually gonna pull it up digitally. You can see it here. Hi everybody, welcome. And I'm excited to dig in. So this is the digital file that I used to print the full-size movie poster. So everything that you see in this demonstration, you're going to be able to see in the actual poster, which is pretty cool. It's basically it's a pixel-to-pixel digital copy. Anyway, let's dig in. So the first thing I want to do is just kind of go over the whole map here. So this is the whole thing, and what you'll see is the entire event. I mean, obviously, right? Anyway, we get the title right here, Wasteland City 2022. Here is the GPS coordinates, because there's not really an address. I mean, there is kind of an address, but it doesn't get you there. So you can actually see the site on GPS, like in Google Maps and stuff, by putting that in. The population for 2022 was around 3,800 people, plus or minus. They always just give rough numbers anyway. And then along the outside edges, you'll see some tributes to other post-apocalyptic locations like New Vegas and Diamond City from the Fallout series, the Green Place, D-Day Park, Uranium Springs, Forged Valley, Those are all other post-apocalypse festivals in the United States that I wanted to play tribute to. Of course, Black Rock City is a little homage to Burning Man. California City, Los Angeles, San Diego, San Francisco, those are all just kind of helpful directions to kind of place yourself in California. And of course, California City is the local town where you can actually, there's like stores and stuff and gas stations and stuff. So that was actually really helpful. And then of course, Broken Hill actually points to the filming location for Mad Max, The Road Warrior. So Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior. Anyway, let's zoom in a little bit here. I'm just going to actually punch in a little bit. Not too much. All right. So in the bottom, you get the regular like map tools. You got the compass rose, which on this map, because it's vertical, it actually points north, which is great. So we got the whole thing actually situated so it makes sense in people's brains. Of course, the normal event map is turned on its side, and that is a holdover from when the event was at its original location of H Park. And I don't know if this is gonna make sense to you. Can I rotate this? I don't think I can actually. No, let's not. Maybe we can. Edit? No, let's not do that. Oops, and I lost it. Oh wait, here we go. All right, so if I were to put this in this direction, which might be a little bit more familiar to you guys, the event was situated the same way, but at H Park, and just the way the land was shaped meant that what is up to you right now was north, but the way the roads were already in place, the way the hills were situated, the event is actually now this way, north pointing up. And so if the map were on its side, that would be east pointing north. Anyway, it's a lot of stuff to say. This is just the way it is now. All right, so we're going to cancel this, and we're going to not worry about changes. All right, let's get back to this. All right, so we're going to zoom in a little bit, kind of like we were. Let it load up because it takes a little while. Come on. Come on. There we go. All right, so let's zoom in a little bit and come back down to the bottom. All right, then over here in the legend, it's a little bit more of a streamlined legend because I did a little bit more color coding this time. So now the theme zones are in green, Wasteland official stuff is in blue, roads are in brown, tribes in orange, venues and bars are in red, and sometimes if the tribe name and the bar or the venue is the same, the tribe will actually be written in red. But that just goes to show that they've got a little something extra for you to check out. Churches, shrines, and sacred places are all in gold, and that is not just the role playing, like the made up holy places, but it also includes a memorial to the fallen, because when you're there, they're all the same. They're all real. And then of course points of interest, so other stuff, other little Easter eggs and things are going to be in purple. There is of course a scale, which is pretty close, and you might notice that 200 feet is roughly the width of these blocks, and that is a design on purpose. And I actually just found this out from Adam, one of the co-owners. He said, you know, there's some design in Wasteland City that you might not notice, and I'm going to go over a couple of these right now. And one of them is that the blocks are around 200 feet wide. Oh, I'm sorry, 400 feet wide, because the average water hose that a fire truck has is about 200 feet. So it's 200 feet to the middle, so that a fire truck can always reach anywhere if it's ever needed. Luckily, we haven't needed that in a couple of years. That's a story I'll tell you another time, but it's a very rare occurrence that we actually have any kind of fire emergency on site. So anyway, there's your scale. You'll notice a little bit of legalese there. That's, well, we'll get back to that later. All right, so another design point that is kind of built into Wasteland that you might not notice, and I want to just get over this real quick get through this real quick before we move on, is you might notice Outpost 364 and Thunderdome and the main stage are right at the end of these straight blocks. and this one is actually this block. So not this one, but this one. They're at the end. So when you're all the way out here in Tent City and you're looking down these blocks, you can look straight ahead and you can see the outpost and the stage and Thunderdome from that far away, which I think is a really cool thing. And honestly, this past year, looking at the outpost from all the way back here and walking toward it, it actually has this effect where it makes it seem larger because of the scale of things. It's just really neat. Yeah, so that's a little something that, Adam put in that you might not notice right away, but you definitely notice because you just see it. All right, so let's scroll back out a little bit and look at, well, we'll just start right here. Up in the top left, you'll see check-in, and I think check-in might have gotten missed last time, or I just didn't have all this photography. I got a lot more photography for this map than I did last time. All right, so I'm picking this up on a new day. I had to leave, so here we go. All right, we're gonna start at the top. So there's check-in. That's where, you take this road in from California City. You end up at check-in. The line might be long. It might be not long. Who knows? Either way, there you go. So now we're going to follow the Appian Way down. Here's Zool. This is where a lot of the check-in people camp so that they can be close to check-in. Let's see. As we head down, here's general parking on the right. So once you, set up camp, you can go park your car over here. So it's not in the way and it's not going to spoil the theme. And then this whole area here, this is all Tent City. So of course, the people that like it a little quiet or like a little bit more privacy, they end up in the far reaches of Wasteland. As you get closer, you notice it gets a little bit more compact, a lot more people camping. What else? Oh, this whole area here, the reason it's mostly empty is because I believe that that's where the graboids are. And the graboids just mean deep sand where your RV is going to get caught. Let's see what else. So we've got all the different theme zones: the Buzzard Patch, Anthill, Silent Death, Nuclear Winter, the Redoubt, Fiddler's Green, Old Town, Decontamination, Protocol. Event staging is not a themed area, although I suppose it ends up being. The theme is event staging. Rolling Thunder, Bone Flats, Hades, Half-Life, Quarantine Zone. So those are all kind of like suggested themed zones. Rolling Thunder is kind of built for if you've got a themed vehicle and you want to be with other themed vehicle. Hades is normally where the fire spinning area is. There was no fire spin area in 2022, but there has been almost every year before, and I'm sure there will be again. Like Nuclear Winter is for, I don't know, people that like the cold. So there's just different, like, kind of rough themes. They tend to not be much of anything overall because people will camp wherever they find room, ultimately. And I think maybe location, like closeness to the main gates, is probably more important to most people than exactly what theme you're camping in. But as we get in here, these are the themed areas as Wasteland makes it. So you get the green place over here where it's a lot of peaceful tribes that are more about like crafting and arts and community survivorship. You'll find those tribes here. The Den, or the Garden of Eden, as the sign once said, is a just pit of despair and disgustion. Yes, I made that word up. That's where you'll find a lot of the like seedier bars of Wasteland and a lot of the more debaucherous events, that kind of thing. It's actually a lot of fun. And this area in the middle, the courtyard, has been... it's interesting. In 2022, there wasn't a whole lot going on in there. In the past, that's where another stage might be set up. The races have been. Some more of the risque-er sideshows can be seen in the Den. And also, it got hold on, let me zoom on in. It got the Slammer this year, so they were in charge of the Slammer. And the Slammer was made originally for the first Neotropolis event. When that got canceled, it got repurposed into the Slammer for Wasteland. And the slammer's kind of cool because there's just a bunch of cages in there, some secret ways in and out. It's just kind of a sandbox to play in. And actually, while I'm here, I'm going to zoom way in because we caught the helicopter on the move. Let's see, this is it right here, the helicopter. No, what am I doing? That's a complete lie. This is the helicopter because instead of the fan blades, it had a giant umbrella. So there it is. You can see the tail there and the head there. And it kind of looks like a dead fish right now, doesn't it? Anyway. Kind of fun because in the 2021 map that I made, I took the photography over several days, and the helicopter ended up in 2 or 3 different places. But this time, all the photography was in one day, so the helicopter's in one spot, I think. You guys might find it somewhere else. I mean, if it was on the move during the shoot, who knows? There were actually a couple spots where a car ended up in a couple spots because it was driving around. And in a couple instances, I erased it to make room for some of the text. I was like, oh, there's a second one of those cars, so I can get rid of that and make some room for like a street sign. But I did not go through and do them all, so you might see the same car or the same person a couple times, just depending what direction they were walking. Let's see, Bartertown is actually this whole strip here. And it actually bends around this way. So this was a lot of the food vendors, this is a lot of the costume vendors, and then of course it continues over here to Texas Smoke and Dinky Dive. So yeah, Bartertown kind of takes this long sweep this way. And this area is really cool. If you guys haven't found it yet, you can see just how densely camped it is, and that's because each one of those vehicles is a storefront. And people really fit their way in there just to make it nice and dense. It kind of feels like Main Street Disneyland or something like that, where there's a lot going on, a lot to see in a very small space. Fort Kickass is actually, this is a lot of the build crew, the Wasteland staff that's there really early on. They put up Fort Kickass so they have a shaded place to camp ahead of time. So just kind of a cool little spot for some of the volunteers to be able to camp and have some camaraderie and a place to go when you first get there. Of course, we've got the main gates right here. This is where you enter into Wasteland City. Once again, the themed zone extends beyond the gates. So once you're in this area, you're in the theme zone. And then, of course, there's the command center, the info tire, which is the command center. I've heard it called a bar, which is really interesting because you see a lot of people hanging out there, and there's a bunch of tables, and there's Immortan Joe's Snack Lounge or whatever the sign says. It's not a bar. It's actually just where the volunteers will hang out during their shifts or between shifts, and a lot of the runners will be there to be on call. And my dog is asking for a snack, so I'll be right back. All right, trying to wrap this up here. Okay, and along with that, you got the body shop, the trading post, which is the Wasteland Weekend merch store. Here's the theater. It's often overlooked, but they are playing movies in there, and there's actually a post-apocalypse festival happening during Wasteland where they're showing films, and there's actually prizes and awards and all that. Engineering is some more, well, engineering and the depot, that's some more Wasteland Weekend official stuff. This is where all the tools and manufacturing happen on in real time. In a lot of cases, like if something breaks, they'll bring it over to engineering. And if they need a sign made real quick, engineering will make that. So pretty cool. They've got like a whole welding area, whole fabrication shop ready to go on site because, you know, it would be ridiculous to try to take things back to anywhere to fix them. Over here on the left, you can see medical, the wellness team, which is, I don't know what they are, actually. I imagine they're a bunch of people that are helping people feel well. And security here. And then we get into all the Wasteland City tribes. And these are people that have, one, earned their spot, along with all the themed area. These people have earned their spot by creating camps that are 100% themed, at least from what you see from the roads and from even inside the camps. They've almost always have a backdrop that block, you know, if they're hiding like a regular tent or something back there. Not trying to call you out, DXC, but yeah, there's some campers hidden in the back. But as long as they're blocked really, really well, you wouldn't even know that they were there, which is pretty cool, unless you're in a drone. But the drone shows a lot of things that we wish didn't have to be in Wasteland, like the porta potties and that kind of thing. And also, being that this is a drone shot, I get to see where a lot of people have their themed vehicles that don't need to be there, that should be in general parking. But I understand, sometimes you just do what you can. So yeah, we've got Main Street here. This is where the Dukes and the Nuke, my tribe, camp. And once again, if you zoom in, you can see some extra stuff, like our little mod station I marked, the Apocalypse Outpost. I didn't want to make it, like an Apocalypse poster, but yeah, that was our little outpost store right there. The Duke's Country Club was there. Over here, you can see the Skulkduggers. Their location is called the Mushroom Cloud Lounge. The bar is called the Alhambra. And out front, they have the Fallout 4 Mushroom Cloud, and this was an actual prop made for the filming of the Fallout 4 introduction video. So kind of cool that we've got some real world props at Wasteland. Pretty neat. But yeah, to continue on with the theme zones, here's Undertown, and Undertown was the first inner city theme zone, and it's pretty cool. This is a group of tribes that are all part of Undertown, and they're all a bunch of scum and villainy and mercs for hire, and just overall pretty evil, awesome people. Oddly enough, my block has no theme. We are fairly neutral. But then if you take this corner here, you've got the slums, and the slums is actually street centered. So you actually have the slums is both sides, whereas Undertown represents the block. Sometimes it's a little confusing. But whatever. Here's the Atomic Cafe, the main stage, Thunderdome, and here's something that some true Wasteland aficionados will notice. Night Rider, the one that keeps us clean, the one that fends away the stink. She was there doing her rounds, and the drone happened to catch her, which is pretty cool. And then, of course, down here we've got Smashbots. They set up down in the lower corner. They weren't on the official map because their location was fairly TBD all the way up until the event. So pretty wild. And then, of course, I did another little tribute to the Ghost of the D ship, which normally would set up somewhere around here, but it's still with us. I miss the D's. I thought it was such a great art piece. It's unfortunate that it couldn't last any longer. So anyway, I hope that is a good description or a good lay of the land here at Wasteland Weekend. I believe the event is, oh shoot, what is it? It's like not even a half mile or it's like a half mile long and a quarter mile wide or something like that. So just to get your perspective. And of course, downtown or the city is, oh boy, maybe an eighth of a mile square-ish if you take that whole area. So yeah, that'll help you to decide if you're going to camp way out here or way over here. Because I do know some people don't do well with noise at night, and the bands, well, the main stage usually powers down around 1, but you can hear noise up until 2 or 3 sometimes. So for people that are really sensitive when they sleep, you can be way back there. If you want to be more part of the action, consider being in this area or creating a theme tribe. And oh, by the way, if you want to create a theme tribe, the best way to do it is to show up one year and just bring your all. Go for it. Like, set up a camp that is theme worthy, hide your cars, and get some great photos of your camp, and just show that you are capable of doing a theme camp worthy of being in the city. And if you can do that, just send in your application. You'll see the applications go live usually in the spring to early summer. So if you want to be part of that, just make sure you get some photos of your camp. And if you want to try for it your first year, it's not unheard of for a first-year tribe to be placed, but you have to set up your camp like in your backyard or something like that, just to show that you've got everything it takes. Does that make sense? Because for those of you that haven't been around Wasteland all that long, the theme zone, that is our haven. That is why Wasteland is different than so many other things, because when you're in the city, you are in the movie, you are in the video game. There's nothing from the real world to spoil the atmosphere. And we all work really hard to create that area where anyone can walk in and feel like you're in a different place, in a different time, or even that you're a different person. if that's the way you want to go. So pretty cool stuff. Anyway, I hope you guys like this. For those of you who ordered maps, they are getting boxed this week and will start shipping really soon. And if you want a map, you can find it on my merch store, which is the apocalypsepost.square.site. That link will be right below, and I'll actually have a link directly to the maps if you want to buy one. You saw that they are in the movie poster size and the show poster size, and you can get them either framed or laminated, or if you ask really nicely, I'll sign one for you. Yeah, that's it. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you enjoy the map, and I'm looking forward to doing even more of these. I may even do one for Neotropolis if I can get permission to fly my drone. So we'll see. Anyway, that's it for now. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time, stay alive.